to Heroes Forge, a Heroes of the Storm podcast.
What is up, Forgers? This is episode number 31 of Heroes Forge, a community-driven podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. This is your show host, Jeff Reynolds, and as always, I am joined by the co-host of the show, who is better than an unexpected vacation. It's Kristen Ashton. Hello, Kristen.
Hey, Jeff, how's it going? And also, what type of vacation?
That kind where you're just like, you're at home and someone goes, hey, you want to go to California tomorrow? And you're like, yes, I do.
Bam, I'll take it.
A really good unexpected vacation. And it's something that is expected, that is even more awesome, is this week we're joined by the co-host of the new Heroes of the Storm podcast. It's Ray Hofmeister from Heroes Radio. Ray, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. I'm really excited to be here. This is a great podcast, truly unique, truly fun, and yeah, just happy to be here.
Oh, thanks for all the kind words. I mean, seriously, your show is awesome too. I mean, it's got to be really difficult to have a Heroes of the Storm news show. You guys make it different. You make it fun. Like we talked about before we started recording here, cool little, little tidbits that are inside of your show that just make it different than other Heroes news shows, and it just makes it really, really interesting to listen to.
Thanks. Yeah, credit out to Dave. A lot of those came from his mind, and we're looking to change them up and kind of twist it as we're going. So, it comes from passion. It's a lot of fun for us. So I guess that's what matters most.
Yeah, definitely. That's where we come from too, right, Kristen?
100%. I don't think I could do this if I didn't love the Blizzard universe, not just one game, but the Blizzard universe as a whole.
Totally. Well, it starts from the beginning, right, Ray? Tell us a little bit about your history with video gaming and where it all started for you.
So I guess from the very beginning days, it started on an NES owned by my father playing Mario. But really with the whole online multiplayer scene and even story-driven games, it was kind of Half-Life that got me into gaming and those mods around it, Counter-Strike. And then obviously StarCraft is what brings me into Blizzard.
Nice. StarCraft brought a lot of people in. I know I was definitely one of the first. StarCraft was one of my first Blizzard games. So from StarCraft, did you just pick up World of Warcraft, go straight into Diablo, and then, that the rest is history?
Actually, in that exact order, yeah.
Yeah. A little different order than us, right, Kristen?
Yep. As we all know, Diablo is what started my love affair. So it's interesting to hear you guys that started with StarCraft because that's such a different game in regards to mechanics.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think the age I was at, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was pretty awful, but it was definitely World of Warcraft that got me and kept me here for sure. And now my new love, Heroes, of course.
Oh, Heroes. I think we're all in love with Heroes. I mean, we all spend tons of time devoted to the community of Heroes, so I think it's safe to say that we're in love with it. But like we said, Warcraft, I mean, that was the beginning of it all, and there's going to be a new pre-Legion, or there's a new whole pre-Legion patch that has come out. I know last week we talked a little bit about, I was leveling an enhancement shaman, and this weekend, I got with some friends that hadn't started leveling for Legion yet, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to just level a new character too. So I have a monk and a shaman now, and it's become this huge can of worms that has opened up and just consumed my whole life.
Wonderful. Now with the monk, where do you start off in Pandaria then?
I didn't. I was a night elf monk. So I started where all the other night elves were. That's where the race and class that I chose. We all wanted to be in the first starting area together. So I'm at the point now where, I'm level 30 something, 34, I think, where it's getting to, you got to do these monk specific class quests and things that I have never done before. I'm not sure if I like the way the monk plays yet. It's kind of different than what I'm used to. Back in the day in vanilla, I played a hunter. So it was a little different for me to be up close and personal with all those monk attacks and things like that, but I'm getting used to it. Ray, are you leveling for Legion? Are you looking forward to it?
Definitely. I've been trying out some new classes with the changes. I messed around with monk a little bit, but I've really been enjoying my go-to is paladin, but priest. I enjoy playing healers, so I like to stick with that. And the changes to warlock have been a lot of fun. They're back to their warlocky soulstone roots, if you will.
Oh, we would have a whole group here. I mean, Kristen's got the rogue going on. I got the, the monk and the shaman. You're thinking paladin and all. That's really cool. So do you like to heal in Heroes as well?
I do. That's probably where I got started playing Heroes, was playing the healers. And then probably the first category of Heroes I collected all of was the support class. And that's really why I love Heroes so much too, is that playing support in similar genres is just, it can get so boring, and it's just so unique. It's such a fresh twist. Playing in Heroes of the Storm support role is so much fun.
Yeah, and it's fast, right, Kristen? And it's going to get even faster with this ability to, res people now.
Well, we'll see how fast Ariel attacks here. I don't know if we can assume she's going to be a pew, 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 or if she's going to be a slow slapper of the faces. And when you get killed by her, it's like being killed by a Morales grenade.
Right. Which always feels good to do. Oh, yeah. I'm curious about the res. I hear speculation out there. I don't think we can really know what it's going to feel like until it's in the game. But again, I'm excited, just that they're coming out with new stuff. I'm excited that there's new cool stuff coming to the game, and hopefully it all works out and is balanced, right?
Absolutely. That's what keeps it fresh after all. And that's what keeps the meta changing too. Because I know we can complain about the changes to characters because sometimes these overhauls are just so big. They change the feel of a character entirely. But again, that's what keeps the gameplay fresh. So we don't get stuck in the same rut for years at a time, even though the game isn't that old yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Well, that's enough bantering, I think. I think it's time to get into the show. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's forge.
Let's forge.
All right, Forgers, if this is your first time listening to the show, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for listening. And if you've been here before, you know a little bit about how this works. So we have a special guest this evening, which is one of our favorite things to do. Our special guest is going to pick a hero from one of the Blizzard universes, and all three of us are going to build a kit for that hero for Heroes of the Storm to see what they might look like if they were implemented into that game too. I mean, there's a plethora of heroes out there that we can choose from. So Ray, tell us, who are we forging tonight?
Tonight, we'll be forging the Corrupted Soul, a threat you will soon face in Legion, Cordana Felsong.
Oh.
Nice
awesome.
job!
Very good intro. Oh, I got the chills. It's so good. This character has got so much going on, both in things that have happened and things that will happen. So, before we even get started, I know there are some people out there that really like to save content for things like Legion before Legion happens. You don't want to watch any of the videos of any of the stuff that's happening in the beta or the alpha even. So I think we will be talking a little bit about this stuff that is coming in Legion. I know Cordana is involved in it. And so if this is something that you want to wait for Legion, just hang out for, a few more weeks on this episode and then come back to it and listen to it, because I think it's going to be super blast. So this is your spoiler alert here. And then after that being said, Kristen, give us a little background on Cordana and her place in Warcraft.
Within Warcraft, she is a Night Elf Warden, one of the many tasked with policing Kalimdor. Cordana Felsong served her people well. Eventually, she was assigned to guard Khadgar on his many reckless, as she believed, adventures in pursuit of Gul'dan. Eventually, though, she would pay the price for Khadgar's pursuit. After finally capturing and freeing Garona Halforkin from Gul'dan's control with the use of an Orb of Dominion, it was this very same tool that allowed Gul'dan to possess Cordana's mind, corrupting her into yet another pawn of the Burning Legion. Now under Gul'dan's control, Cordana led the twisted orc to the Vault of the Wardens, the prison where Illidan had been locked away following his defeat at the Black Temple. Though Maiev Shadowsong tried to prevent the stealing of Illidan's body, she ultimately failed, swearing vengeance on Cordana's treachery. Cordana remained within the vault, though, tempting other demon hunters to join the Legion before finally meeting her death at the hands of more saviors of Azeroth.
Oh, the treachery. I mean, it's so dense with treachery and betrayal. And I mean, Ray, why does this character connect with you? Why did you choose Cordana?
Well, in the hype for Legion, I was going back and playing through some Warlords of Draenor quests and in that legendary ring. And, you know, you start and she's this character and she's helping Khadgar. She's in the party with you. And she seems very strong, but it's kind of like a role where she doesn't stick out too much. And then as you progress, you're like, something's going on here. And that just kind of just builds and builds and builds until, you know, I'm excited to see how the encounter comes for Legion.
Yeah, I've seen some videos and I know they're still, you know, changing it around and making it even better. And even in the couple of videos that I did see, the encounter is, you know, different in each one of them just because of the changes that they're doing. So who knows what we're going to get when Legion really comes out. And that's part of the excitement too. And I couldn't agree more with what you just said, because I didn't play Warlords of Draenor, so I kind of had to go back and experience this bit by bit on a different perspective, with a different perspective. And I did see exactly what you just said, where, you know, she's kind of just in the background of this stuff. She's kind of just trolling along, going with everything. And then there's even some, you know, foreshadowing comments that people are making, like, you know, I wonder where Cordana is. She's been acting kind of weird lately or something. And then they move on to something else and they start talking about other things that are happening in the world. So it's just this tiny little bit of foreshadowing. And then the foreshadowing gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then eventually, I think when you walk in there to confront her, do you know, Ray? Do you know when you walk in there what something bad's going to go down?
Well, everything's kind of fishy until you get to the point where you're actually did all your quests. You're about to get this powerful ring from Khadgar, and you're super excited, and then she takes it away, and then she's just gone. But the story is just so well done, like you said, and I wanted to get your two opinion because I've been thinking about this. Her last name being Felsong, you think that's any hint to being corrupted by this Fel?
Kristen, what do you think?
Maybe. Well, we have to wonder then too when the Felsong name first originated. Is it a parental name that's been passed down for generations? And if that's the case, did she have ancestors that were perhaps corrupted by the Fel?
That is a very good point. It was in her genes to be a weakness to the Fel all along.
That's right. I didn't even think of that. That could be possible. I love it. I love it. I do think it's ironic. I mean, a couple of people tweeted at us this week and they said, I just figured this out, that her name is Felsong and she gets corrupted by the Fel. And I said, what will they think of next? I mean, it could be deep like that, but who knows? I hope it is, because that's a really, really cool idea. And even if it's that little piece of foreshadowing, I mean, Kristen, when you were doing your research on this, how were you feeling through the process? Did you feel that it kind of came out of nowhere, that she kind of turned on everybody?
That's exactly how I felt, but I didn't go in through any Warlords of Draenor videos. It was strictly reading from the WoW wiki and everything. Oh. So it was more of a, so we have another betrayer to add to the list, the long list of betrayers. But the way you guys describe it, it sounds like the way the story was implemented, they actually give you a character that you see slowly get corrupted, so that by the time you realize her full corruption has taken hold, you look back and realize, oh, Blizzard's been telling me this stuff the whole time. And I love that kind of storytelling, especially in things like movies.
Yeah, I think, at least, Ray, that's how I felt. Is that how it feels in the game?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Cool. I love that. I think that's a really, really cool thing. That's a huge, I mean, that's just a tiny little part of her story in this game. If you want to check out more things about it, there are tons of wikis on Cordana, and there'll be tons more, I'm telling you, when she becomes a part of Legion on the 30th of August, which is so exciting. Okay, let's start these builds. The first thing we start talking about is their role classification in the game. I'm thinking we might be a whole lot similar here, but I'm not sure. My role classification, I went with Assassin, just because, I mean, her role in Warcraft was something called a warden, right, Kristen?
It was. And again, I went with Assassin too. But I will say I did watch the raid videos. She's not a raid. She's just a 5-man instance. But I did watch those videos.
Yeah. Those are pretty cool coming up. And Ray, what were you thinking that her role classification would be?
Well, I agreed with you too, and I also went with an assassin.
Ooh, I love it when they're all the same because it's so cool to see them all be the same, but all possibly be super different. So Ray, tell us, what is the trait for your assassin version of Cordana?
So for my build, I was trying to stick with her warden roguish roots, but kind of throw in the flavor of the fel. So her trait is fel corruption. And this is when basic attacks apply corruption that can provide a minor slow to the target in movement and attack speed. But these fel corruption stacks are directly stealing basic attack damage away from heroes and applying them to Cordana, and she gains that damage.
Oh, so it's like a double stack, you're saying? The movement speed and the attack bonus?
Yeah, on second thought, that's probably something you would talent into. But at its base, you're siphoning damage from your enemy.
Oh, I really like that. It's got a really cool fel feel, and it's super powerful. I mean, these stacks are going to be brutal, right, Kristen?
It does, and I love the picture of this because I see her like sucking something in with one hand while attacking somebody else with another, and oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, she's got a great voice too in the game. Upcoming Legion voice is just booming and just really terrifying. So, that's a really neat idea, and I can't wait to see where it goes with the rest of your basic abilities, because I can see how that would definitely have some awesome synergy with some ideas that I'm having off of your idea, which is really cool. Kristen, what were you thinking for the trait?
This one, I'm going with something called Elun's Shadow. Now, because of Cordana's dedication to the shadowy world of the Legion, her visibility to the enemy is reduced. Instead of being visible within the given sight range that the Nexus heroes have, the sight range of Cordana and her abilities is actually halved, meaning that enemies need to get that much closer in order to actually see her.
Ooh.
That is so cool. Yeah. I like the flavor of that too, because it plays with, you're saying watching these dungeon videos, her voice is so haunting. You don't know where she is. It sounds like she's all around you, so you won't see her coming.
Yeah. It is. And spoiler alert, again, there are going to be a lot of spoilers here. What they have implemented at the moment is that apparently you have to carry something called Elun's Light with you to light up the battle space.
Oh, I didn't know that. That is really cool. So does that lighted battle space in the actual dungeon affect the raid, or is it just visibility? It
affects certain parts of the battle because you need to keep it moved around in order to see certain things. Occasionally she'll disappear into the shadows and you have to use it to find her.
Oh man, I'm telling you, can of worms with Warcraft. When you say stuff like that, I'm just like, yes, I need to log 75 hours today so that I can get to that. And I see where your idea for this trait came. It is really cool. So you're losing. Is she losing visibility too, or is it just the enemy heroes?
No, just the enemy heroes lose visibility of her.
That's really cool. I really like that. So many awesome fel ideas here. And, I went a little bit more with the warden aspect of her being a warden. So my trait is called enforcement. Wardens are known to be the special police force of the Night Elves, using supernatural powers to re-imprison loosed criminals that have re-entered the world. Cordana is one of these wardens in Heroes of the Storm, and the escaped criminals are the enemy team. Her trait gives her enemy heroes a debuff for each 4 basic attacks she lands on them. The debuff can be activated by the Cordana player to slow the enemy hero's movement speed for a short amount of time. This debuff only lasts for a short amount of time on the enemy hero, either if it expires or if it's activated by the Cordana player. Does that make sense? So basically what I'm thinking here is that, Cordana can land 4 basic attacks on someone. After she does that, they gain this debuff that then she has to activate in order for it to go off. So if she's got it placed on multiple heroes, I also think that the amount of time that the debuff is on a hero is very short. But if she was able to get it on multiple heroes, if she activated her trait, it would send the slow to both of the heroes at the same time. Does that make sense, Kristen?
It does. It's very much like Lunara, yeah?
Yeah, sort of that same kind of feel where, you've got to activate this just to slow them down. And I think it might be useful in the game.
Well, slows are always very nice. Oh, especially with those heroes that have the movement speed, or if they're just out of reach. If you could slow them just a little bit, you could get to them and then seal the deal.
Yeah, I've had some serious frustrating battles with CC and slow, and there was a while there, and Ray, you can give us your thoughts on this. There was a while there where CC was a little bit of the meta, right? So we were always seeing CC in the game.
Oh, definitely. So much, in fact. I think we were calling it Heroes of the Stun for a while. Which I had no problem with, I gotta say.
Yeah, it feels good when you're on the other end of it. I mean, you lock them down and you get them right then and there. But yeah, so that's what I was thinking. A little bit of CC for my enforcement over here with the Warden. So let's move into mounts. And I was saying that because this is for no other reason than I just like this model in the game. I really want somebody in the game to ride a Fel Corehound. It's just a massive Corehound that's got this green Fel just, oozing from it instead of lava. I mean, Kristen, have you seen that?
I have, and I love those little things. I wish they were real so I could take one home, name him, and raise him as my own.
You're talking about the little ones. I mean, in Legion, there are full-size mounts. Are you want to bring that home to your house?
I would. Do you know how big bull mastiffs are? Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. What were you thinking for his mount?
Oh, I thought it would be hilarious if we took after some anime here. And so she takes off running with her arms flailing behind her.
Brilliant. I really like it. For no other reason, just to take after anime, right?
It's a cool look. It's a sweet look. I've tried running that way. I don't look cool when I do it, but in my mind's eye, I feel pretty sweet.
Yeah, like an anime character, Kristen. Really cool. Ray, what were you thinking?
So for the mount, I gave her a Shadow Step, which Cordana vanishes into the shadows, moving her a short distance, providing brief invisibility, and it has a reduced cooldown to compensate for the shorter range moving around the map.
Oh, that's great. Man, why didn't we think of that? That's a really good idea, because as much as I read about wardens, I read these things about, their whole ability to blink, right? They have the ability to blink or teleport short distances. So this is a way of kind of putting that Fel into it with that same sort of disappearing. Is that what you're thinking, Ray?
Yeah, definitely. Some things I was reading too says she could fall under a rogue class as well too. And I was thinking of a way to combine the Warden, Rogue, and her evilness just kind of blinking around, popping up, not knowing where she's going to be.
Yeah, definitely. We need a Rogue in the game, Kristen. I'm telling you, we had Edwin Van Cleef on the show, and it just got me thinking we need to have some sort of Rogue.
Well, I'm a big fan of rogues, as we all know. And also, too, so this would give her some great repositioning ability during team fights and stuff, because she could just dart around and everything. But visually, would she leave behind a puff of smoke? And if she did, would it make Gul'dan's face or someone else's face or something when it formed?
Yes.
That would be pretty cool. I'm picturing she kind of like folds into herself into like slip, and now she's gone. Like a little line on the screen, and you no longer see her.
Oh, that's cool too. And there's a bunch of different ideas there that are so awesome. And the fact, I mean, that again plays into kind of what we were talking about before about you don't really know where she is. And that, Ray, you're 100% right. That is like a rogue trait for sure. Let's get into some basic abilities here. Kristen, hit us with your first basic ability for your assassin.
Wham bam! This first one is called Moonglaive Toss. Cordana throws out her Moonglaive, damaging all in its path. Each time it hits an enemy during this throw, it explodes with arcane energy that does more damage to the target or targets in the line that are hit, as well as anything that's close enough to the burst of this explosion.
Oh, okay. So it's skill shot.
Yes.
Shooting out. Oh, that's really cool and unique. I like that a lot. So the closer you are to the explosion is what you're saying.
If so think Falstad's hammer, right?
Uh-huh.
It goes out and it comes back in a line, and Zul's scythe, and you can reposition yourself to kind of change where this line is. So if the glaive hits, if the Moonglaive hits directly, there's a small arcane explosion, and it'll do more damage to you. But if you're close enough to this explosion, but you don't get hit by the glaive, you'll still take side damage from the explosion.
Oh, okay. So it's like a skill shot that it's okay to miss. I mean, it's not okay to miss, but you're still dealing damage if you don't get a direct hit.
I want to say you deal, because you need the direct hit in order for the explosion to happen.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay, I think I get it now. Sorry, it took me a second. I'm going a little slow today.
It's Sunday night. It's Monday tomorrow. I'm not.
That's right. I mean, all these builds are so awesome that we're reading and everything's blending together. I get it. So you have to get the hit to get the explosion, but you're saying that if someone is nearby, they will also get damaged from the explosion?
Correct.
Okay. Ray, that was difficult for me. I'm sure you would have got it much faster. That was really cool. I mean,
I'm trying to picture it. What would the animation be, Kristen? Would it be exploding with like fell magic?
I imagine little green explosions each time it hits somebody. So yeah, fell magic.
Awesome.
Oh, I love that. And if you have a big line of heroes that really maybe aren't even in a line, it's going to explode multiple times as it hits every hero?
Correct.
Ooh, chain. I love it. See, when I finally got to the answer of what this ability does in my mind, I really like it a lot. My basic ability over here is called Umbra Crescent. So Cordana's weapon of choice is this Umbra Crescent. It's a circular shaped spiky blade that is unconventional in its look. Although this weapon is circular in shape, it cannot normally be tossed at the enemy due to its size. When Cordana uses this ability, her crescent is empowered with the fell magic and is tossed around her in a complete circle, dealing damage to all enemies in her path. This ability does additional damage to enemies that are slowed or stunned. It can be talented into later in the game to allow the blade to travel around her multiple times.
So here is where your trait comes into use.
Yeah, so I'm thinking you pop your trait, you throw out this crescent that's just going to swoop all the way around you. And, this is going to take some serious practice on both ends here. The friendly heroes team to step out to, make sure that if you're the Cordana player, that you're putting it in the right position at the right time. And then obviously on the other team that you're not going to be in its path. Because I don't imagine it would have a path that would show up on the screen. It would just kind of flip out and go all the way around her really quick and do some serious damage. I mean, and Ray, that's what she does in that little encounter, right? She kind of has that thing flying around her.
Yeah, definitely. And I do not want to get caught in that ability. That sounds lethal.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's just such a cool Tron moment, like with these Tron discs. I keep seeing those Umbra Crescents and thinking, God, that's cool. It's like a Tron disc. Or even, and have you noticed Artanis, this is off topic, Artanis, like when he Hearthstones, he lifts up his disc and it's totally a Tron kind of motion too. I know it's completely different, but still. Anyway, off the tangent here. Ray, what were you thinking first for her first basic ability?
So for the first ability, I called it Warden's Glaive. And Cordana throws her weapon at a target location, dealing damage in its path, much like Kristen's. But instead of the ability exploding, you can reactivate to dash to that target location. So she has a little mobility to kind of track down her enemy in a warden fashion.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Why doesn't my rogue in Warcraft have this ability?
Oh, I love that. That is so cool. So you could chase people down with that, right, Ray?
Yeah, totally. Make it a little more easy to stick to targets and hunt them down.
Oh, and that's the jailer. That's the whole, jailer warden aspect. You are hunting these people down. You are hunting them down out of the nexus. I love that. That is really cool. So what do you think the range would be on that?
Probably about the same as like Zul's scythe.
Oh, okay. So pretty decent range, not short.
Right. And because with her Shadow Step as her mount, since you can't really travel across the map real far, you can make use of both Shadow Step and dashing with the glaive to kind of get around the map instead of riding a mount.
Ooh, that is really unique and cool. Okay, Ray, you got to tell us, what's your second basic ability over on your side?
So for the second, I called it Loon's Demise. And this is an AoE that silences all enemies around Cordana. She receives bonus damage based on how many targets are silenced. And then if the targets are affected by the stacks of her Fell Corruption trait, the movement and attack speed slow is extended.
Whoa!
Ouch! Oh!
Really cool.
My soul, that would hurt to be
So
caught
really,
in.
you're jumping in, you're silencing, you're slowing the enemy for your team, and you're just trying to siphon as much into her own power as you possibly can.
I mean, you're going to get really strong with something like this going on, right, Kristen? I mean, this is really, really cool.
Absolutely wrecked. And I used to think good Illidan's were scary. But if this Cordana shows up in the Nexus, oh boy.
Yeah, it's related, right? I mean, that's cool. Cool to think about that that's kind of related with the Illidan Cordana thing going on. And the silences are just, they wreck. It's
Frustration. Oh, and imagine if she was paired with a Lily. Oh, no basic attacks and silences all over the place.
That would just be a rude combination, I think.
Bad manners.
A washing machine combo. Gotta love it. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, Kristen, you got some big shoes to fill with that second basic. Let's hear it. What's your second basic ability?
Not big enough. All right. Knockdown kick. So for knockdown kick, Cordana does a roundhouse kick on one enemy, dealing a large amount of damage and stunning them for a brief period of time.
In the place that they were kicked, or does it send them flying?
Oh, I know it does that in the raid. I want to say it doesn't send them flying because I don't want them to be moved because I feel that could be a very dangerous power to give somebody so casually.
Right. I mean, and not in a heroic sense, you're saying. Like, not in a heroic sense. Like, if you gave it to somebody to move people around on the battlefield heroically, that might be something. But if you're walking around with basic abilities like the Dragon Knight, just kicking people all over the battlefield, that'd be something different, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's really cool, though. I like that. And so you just kind of slam your leg down and they're stuck in one spot. And then you're just going to unload on them with your other basic ability, right? So if they're stuck there, you can throw that, ability at them and it's going to explode on them and whoever's in their path.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With the decreased vision, you won't even see the stun coming too, huh?
That's the point. No one sees anything coming. And then she'll come out of the shadows and everyone will go, ah!
And are you thinking she's going to have like a Li Ming health pool size so that if she does get caught, she'll have to pay for it?
I would say yes, so long as her talents give her some sort of ability to get health back.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point to balance it out. Definitely. On my W is not nearly as cool as your guys's. It's called Gul'dan's Tomes. And this ability summons one of Gul'dan's tomes that floats on a pillar of fell magic. All heroes that come into range of this tome will take damage from lightning-like attacks that shoot out of the very pages of the book. The tome can be destroyed by the enemy team and is obviously on a timer. So it's kind of like Rhaegar's totem, where it comes on the battlefield, you can destroy it, it's slowing you, but instead of slowing you, it's going to deal damage to you if you're in the area.
Does it whisper things to you as well?
Absolutely.
Does it try to give you bear hugs and suck your soul out of your body?
It has to whisper something to you, something creepy, as it's like striking you with pure DPS from its tome, Gul'dan. And that's another thing that I saw that I thought was really cool in this battle that you fight her in Warlords of Draenor, where she kind of has all these Gul'dan tomes that she puts at the edges of this, fortification inside of this building, and they all start linking together and the power starts channeling, and that's when you finally find out that she has been corrupted. So I thought I had to add that, and so that's where we're at. And my third basic is called Warden. So one of her lines from Legion is really struck me, and she says, "The best prison needs no walls." So this ability is going to be a little different. So just hang tight. It's going to take me a second to explain it. This ability will debuff the enemy hero selected and force them to be imprisoned inside 4 invisible walls. This is pulling directly from that mime conversation, Kristen, we had last week. This player can't see the large box that they are stuck in, but the Cordana player can. As the hero is attempting to escape the walls, will begin to appear the closer that they get to them, and disappear the further they get away from them. This CC will last a good amount of time, but it'll be a large area of movement inside of this box, forcing the player to move in directions away from the walls. Cordana can choose the placement of this prison to ensure that it is in a different location at all times. So basically, you're in battle, the Cordana player activates this ability, and they can see, like as you drag a building in StarCraft, you can kind of see where you're going to drop this box to lock somebody in. The closer the enemy hero stands to an invisible wall, I imagine like this fell flame shoots up from the ground and they're unable to move that direction, but they don't know which directions they can move.
That sounds so awesome.
Mm-hmm. The silence is good. The silence is good.
You're like introducing the mind game meta.
Yeah, that's all this is about, I think, is the mind game meta as we're reading through all of our builds here. And just imagine you're trying to escape from someone, and it's got that Indiana Jones feel where you're running, and then all of a sudden either the door closes or something shoots up from the ground and you got to change directions to run the opposite way. And maybe it is, as I'm reading this, and this has been a theme for the last couple of weeks, maybe it's heroic, Kristen.
No, not at all. I put it in the game. Now, I don't know. It could be heroic. But so with this one, would the friendly teammates be able to get into the prison?
Yes.
Oh.
Can a Stitch's helping hand pull you out?
Oh.
Oh. No.
Good.
It's heroic.
As much as I like Stitches, good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could talent into it on a heroic level to make it really small, but then it's just CC. I mean, it's a different idea. I kind of wanted that feel, so that's what I came up with. Kristen, what were you thinking for third basic over here?
For third one, I'm going with Shadow Step. For a brief period of time, Cordana can conceal herself in the shadows, increasing health and mana regen until she's either revealed or the ability ends.
Perfect Warden basic ability. I think it's really, really great. Again, touching on all of those points we talked about before with the wardens and the feeling of, being hunted and never knowing where she's going to be, and adding to your kit here, the never know where she's going to be kit. That's just killer, right, Ray?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's it's super powerful. So she can conceal herself in the shadows. So basically it's like going stealth.
Exactly. But for you are taken out of it immediately after the time period is up.
Okay, so you don't have to be hit. And what if you are hit while you are shadow stepping?
Yep, if you're hit, you'll be taken out of it, or say Tassadar uses his vision or his reveal.
Oh.
That would give you away as well.
Oh, cool. So we're seeing some counter picks here. A little Tassadar in there, or maybe even a... who has that reveal now? Doesn't Lily still have the reveal, Ray?
I don't know if she does or not.
I don't think she does, actually.
Oh.
Reveal Brightwing definitely has one.
Brightwing, that's who I was thinking. Oh,
so
man.
pretty much, Kristen, you would be running in, fighting, and then if you can escape, you pretty much have your own mobile healing fountain.
Correct.
Awesome.
Oh, super, super cool. Oh, and you never know where she's going to be, so that gives her the ability to, you know, hang out somewhere and not have to go and hit the healing fountain.
Exactly. Or if she's hunting somebody down and she wants to absolutely make sure they won't see her, even when she gets in range of their sight of her, they won't be able to see her until the stealth pops.
Oh, that is killer. I really like it. Ray, what do you got for third basics?
So I call this one Warden's Undoing. So this is playing off of her trait, siphoning this damage from enemies. And stacks of Fel Corruption on all targets explode, dealing damage based on the total number of stacks. And Cordana loses her stacks, so you're gaining this damage, you're releasing it onto everyone, and then you have to start over again, pretty much.
Okay, so this is the big red button.
Oh yeah, this is the go boom, corrupting everyone around you with the Fel magic.
So cool. So are you thinking that when this corruption explodes, does it hit enemies that are near them too, even if they aren't affected by it?
That would be cool. That would be very cool.
So
I guess it would
lots of
have to if it's exploding, yeah.
Lots of damage, Kristen. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we can assume too, like with the explosion, that the Fel does infect, even if you get a little on you, kind of like radiation, right?
Yeah, like our leper gnome section.
Exactly.
Oh, so these basics are so good. I can't wait to hear about the next best part, which is the heroics. But before we go into that, I want to let everyone know we ran a Tracer giveaway last week, and we had some great participants send us ideas for hero builds and retweet some of our tweets. Thank you everyone for participating. If you participated in that event and you did win, the winners were chosen. We will be reaching out to you this evening with your Tracer code, and get out there into the Nexus and spread the Overwatch love and get some Tracer play in there. It'll be awesome. So
I don't know if I would call Tracer Overwatch love per se, but
After
we'll go
I
with
said
that.
I was like, you know what, Kristen, please don't say anything about that comment. But you did. Just kidding. It was great. Yes, I shouldn't have said that. It will be Overwatch power. Spread some Overwatch power inside of the Nexus with Tracer, and thank you for participating. We want to thank everyone that has rated us on iTunes. We did get a 5-star review this week, which was killer. But if you leave a 5-star review, make sure you leave us your name so we can give you a shout out on the show. And thank you to that listener that left a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and it helps the show out. And also a big thank you to our patrons over at patreon.com/HeroesForge. Over there you can help support the show and help us reach our patron goals, which include forging battlegrounds in the future, letting you guys pick who we forge, and so much more. So check out patreon.com/HeroesForge, and let's get on with it. Let's get to the best part. Let's forge the heroics.
Heroic.
Ray, you're going to have the honors of going first. What is your first heroic for Cordana?
So, at the first, I'm thinking of a track ability in the Warden way. Cordana tracks her target in the ways of the Warden, revealing the target for a long duration. This is a shorter cooldown heroic, and you can affect multiple targets with it, so you can kind of see what's going on the map. And she receives extra range on her Shadow Step mount for every enemy that is revealed by track. Kind of your single target hunt you down.
Yeah, so if you pop this on a stealth hero, you can still see them wherever they go.
Yeah. It's a pretty hard counter now that I think about it.
Yeah, but that's good. I mean, we've heard the rumblings, right, Kristen, of more stealth heroes coming to the game, and it makes me wonder, like, even if they're not in full stealth like Zeratul or Nova coming into the game, is it healthy? And what kind of counters do we have for it? And Ray's ability here, I mean, that's a pretty cool idea.
I really, really like it, keeping them on the map so we know where to get them. Kind of like when Murky's egg is broken, somebody finds it and destroys it, you're there on the map, which really incites a fear in you to make sure you get back or you get somewhere that's safe until that trace is off of you.
Yeah, and then you can go the complete opposite. I mean, well, you're thinking there, but on the enemy or the other team, you're hunting for that person, especially if it's Nova. You're hunting her down, right, Ray?
Definitely. It kind of forces the enemy team to have a little more team play, because if they know where you're coming from, you definitely have to be coordinated, I would think.
Absolutely. And coordination would be, I mean, so beneficial in that circumstance there. I love it. My first heroic is called Legion's Vengeance. When this ability is activated, Cordana summons a powerful avatar that appears from the corpse of a fallen friendly hero. This avatar is controlled by the player that was defeated and plays like having an additional quote-unquote warden on the battlefield. This avatar only has basic attacks and it is unstoppable. The feeling of this heroic is the same of having a player-controlled Leoric ghost that can do damage to the enemy.
Whoa.
So not a res, but vengeance. You know, this warden's vengeance that can summon from the corpse of a fallen friendly hero. So someone dies, this avatar pops up, and their screen gives some sort of overlay, Kristen, where it shows you are now in control of this warden that is basically like this spiritual battlefield warrior.
That's so cool. So with this, would Cordana have to activate it, or would it be passive in that the first friendly hero to die close enough to you is rezzed as this vengeance spirit?
That's a really good question. I'm thinking that it would have to be what I'm going to call an activated passive. So for example, you're about to go into a team fight, you're going to activate it, and if someone dies in this amount of time, 30 seconds, it'll go off on the first person that dies. If no one dies in that 30 seconds, it goes off, and then you have to activate that passive ability again. So I guess, Ray, that wouldn't be called a passive ability because you're activating it, right?
Yeah, it sounds like you're activating it. But my question for you, Jeff, is this based on your resurrection timer? So as you progress into the late game, it's becoming stronger and stronger because the summon is lasting longer?
Absolutely. That is a great idea.
Nice.
So you're getting stronger. I'm not going to steal your idea because that was a really good idea. You're getting stronger as it goes forward. Oh, I love that. So what you're thinking is that the avatar would go away after the death timer was up or it was destroyed.
Right.
I'm
So
not
are you
thinking
thinking just a set duration, or since a friendly teammate's controlling it, it will last as long as they're dead for?
Yeah, maybe it can't be destroyed, Kristen. Maybe it's just this ghost that floats around and does damage. It doesn't have abilities, right? So it's not super powerful, and you can't be body blocked by it, because I'm imagining it's this, ghosty looking thing.
And I'm assuming, too, it can't mount up, so chasing down enemy heroes would probably be out of the question. But you could use it to go into the enemy base and just smack people around who aren't paying attention. Or if there's an Abathur and you figure out where the Abathur is, you can basic attack down an Abathur.
Absolutely. There are some other heroes, too. Love it. So that was a crazy, avatar idea of having that vengeance come back up. And Kristen, what were you thinking for your first heroic?
For this first one, I'm going with something called Deepening Shadow. When placed on the target enemy, a pool of shadows surrounds them, further decreasing their sight range. Much like Medivh's polymorph, this can be spread to other teammates. Once done, once the timer runs out, the shadow explodes, dealing massive amounts of damage to any enemies within its range.
Whoa! So sight and damage.
Yes, I really love Dahaka's cap, the little shower
Right.
cap that he puts on your head to blind you. But why can't it explode and hurt people you're around, further limiting your ability to not mess up the encounter if this heroic is put on you?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So you said once done, so that means that when it explodes, you will have your full vision back of Cordana,
Correct.
and it only affects the vision of Cordana, not the rest of the team.
What do you mean?
So, like, if you're fighting against someone and you put this on them and it's spreading to other players, is it affecting their vision of all of the enemy heroes they're fighting or just Cordana?
All of the enemy heroes they're fighting.
Oh, cool. So you're really, I mean, you're really playing with fire there. Like, you know, you're going in and not being able to see anything. And I mean,
Yep.
Ray, wouldn't that prompt the team? I mean, I know I would. In the bronze leagues, I'd just start firing off basic abilities. I'd be like, oh, I can't see. I need to heroic right now. But it's stim drone. Doesn't matter. Heroic. Like, I feel like a lot of players would get into that, you know, that panic mode in my league. Is that something, Ray, you think would happen?
Definitely. That sounds so scary to just all of a sudden you're being haunted by these shadows and you don't know where to attack or where to move to because she could be anywhere.
Absolutely. She could be anywhere build, and then since you're panicking as you can't see, it's spreading to the other heroes on your team.
Yes, I don't know how many times somebody, even myself, has been polymorphed, and you start running away and you realize, oh shoot, I'm sorry. Oh,
I know, I've typed that a few times in chat. Sorry, my bad. Just over and over again. Super awesome heroic. All right, I'll hit you guys with my second heroic ability over here. This one's called Watch Your Step. Calling forth the power of the Fel, Cordana summons a Fel Umbra Crescent to begin circling a targeted enemy hero. This blade will continue to circle the enemy hero for a short amount of time, dealing a significant amount of damage to all enemy heroes in its path. This will force the enemy team to spread out to ensure that they are not taking damage from their own team members, and this blade is just going around them, not dealing damage to them, but just imagine you throw it on the tank and it's just going to start spinning around them and they can't get anywhere near that tank or they're going to take some serious damage.
I think people would probably still stand in it.
Absolutely.
That's great, though. I'm thinking of so many uses for it. You put on the tank, boom, you can't heal. Or if you put it on or you can't peel. If you put it on a Morales,
Yeah.
what's she going to do?
Absolutely, and I'm thinking it would be just out of range for like a Lily heal, just out of range, just to make it a little bit harder so you have to step in its path in order to get to your friendly. And maybe even it has like a little bit of that Blizzard or, you know, Jaina's ultimate where it has that section that you can stand in the center, then you would be okay. Maybe that would add another fun level to it where, you know, everybody would have to pile on top of you, and in order to get out of that swinging crescent around you, you'd have to take the damage to get out, Kristen.
I love that idea because think of it, Karazim's, what is it, the Way of a Thousand Fists, that ultimate that he has. The best thing you can do if you're going to be stuck in it is for your team members to just jump in the pile. You all soak the damage and suddenly it's really not doing as much as it could have done for one or two targets in there.
Yeah, and Ray, is the Hyperion the same way? If you step into the Hyperion, does it do less damage to you in that same respect?
I think if other units are around you, it'll split its damage done.
Okay.
But this ultimate kind of reminds me of like a Warcraft raid encounter. It's like now you would have a reason to want to like stack as much as you can, try to stack in one little tight circle.
Yeah, I am all about that kind of feel. And as much as we can bring that to Heroes of the Storm, I mean, the ultimate goal is to make me happy. Just kidding. Just kidding. Absolutely joking. But so yeah, That's another ability there. And so let's get some second basics here. Ray, what were you thinking for second basic? Or second heroic, rather?
So for this heroic, I called it Spirits of Vengeance. And it's said that wardens have this ability when needed to summon this ultimate power of these spirits. So Spirit of Vengeance is an AoE around Cordana, and it spawns one spirit for each nearby enemy hero. The spirits deal damage and apply stacks of Fel Corruption to the target, which also siphons the damage in the stack. And they would just kind of stick to the enemy and kind of chase them down with basic attacks.
Oh, too cool. So this is the same kind of idea that we had similar ideas here, but you're saying that you're going to be able to spawn multiple depending on how many corpses are around.
Well, not really corpses, just people. So you'd kind of pop it, and all of a sudden these spirits are chasing you down, and maybe we shouldn't have taken this team fight anymore. But whereas you're spawning one summon that would be like super powerful, get away from it, it's going to kill you. These would be a little weaker based
faster,
on
maybe.
the ability to have 5 of them.
Now, would these slap at you as they come after you, or would they be ranged attacks shooting orbs of magic?
I imagine melee, because I think it would be too strong if they had like a range and just kind of flinging stuff wherever you went. Not to mention that they're also giving the Cordana player more damage as they're attacking. So.
Oh, yeah, and so it's stacking up with all of those other things, and you're just getting ready to push that big red button, right?
And go boom.
And go boom. Oh, I dig that. It's so cool. It's got a great synergy with your whole kit. Both of you guys have got some serious, awesome synergy. Kristen, let's hear it. Let's hear heroic number 2.
All right. This one is called Creeping Doom. In the shadows, we've all felt tingling fear of someone or something coming for us. Preying on this fear, Cordana summons waves of ghosts that pass over and through an enemy team, slowing and dealing massive amounts of damage. However, there is always one ghost missing from this lineup, allowing enemy players a chance to avoid damage if they can make it through these openings. However, the problem is that these ghosts don't become visible until it's pretty much too late.
Oh, this is so cool. Oh, man, this is really, really neat. So you're saying that as they're coming at you, just enough time to maybe vault out of the way into this section, or, Mirrodin jump out of the way if you know you're going to get hit, but they're coming for you.
Exactly. Or instead of trying to find that safe place to run through, you just run away. You could choose not to try and engage these ghosts, because with Murky's March of the Murlocs, I imagine it would look like that when you cast it. It's just this straight line, really wide, but not too long in terms of distance.
Oh, I see it now. I see it. Ray, I mean, I feel like this is really cool. I always feel like there are times in the game where you're trying to outsmart someone when they use an ability like Zul's ultimate, where you're trying to step out of the way. And sometimes there are things that you can do that just, it's hindsight is 2020, right? After, I should have gone left instead of right. And those abilities really start to train you as a better player. And Kristen's heroic here, I feel like it's along the same lines.
Yeah, it's really scary to think that you're seeing them approach as they're getting too late. I could picture them like coming up out of the ground, like just wanting to eat your soul or something. I'm sensing a theme here between all our builds, is that Cordana would be very scary to bring to the Nexus.
Absolutely. You got to have that fel. You got to have all that. I mean, I love that. I mean, I love, Kristen, your abilities. Just that's sticking with me so much is the fact that you talked about the fact in the dungeon encounter, you basically have to hold the light up. And that's the basis of so many horror, things where you just can't see what's going on. And with an assassin that you can't see, I mean, it's a thing. I mean, it's scary. It's powerful.
It is. And you spoke about too horror films have that you can't see, and that's more scary because your imagination will create things that are far more horrifying than you could ever see on screen. So I wonder psychologically if building an assassin and I know Nova stealthed all the time, but an assassin that you don't see her until she's basically on top of you, rather than so far away like Nova can be, would really kind of make players assume that those playing Cordana are better than they actually are.
Ooh, that's a good thought, right, Ray?
Yeah, definitely. It kind of, like we were talking about over on Heroes Radio when you joined us, Kristen, those overextending specialists would always have to live in fear, not seeing Cordana striking from the shadows.
God, what a great way to say that is. That's very, very true. Oh, these builds are just so good. I think after that, we can definitely say that these heroes were forged.
Hero Forged.
Oh, 3 awesome Cordana assassin builds, starting over on Ray's side with the Fell Corruption, being able to apply corruption to the enemy team, and then mounting with the Shadow Step, really embodying that Warden feel of, Warcraft and bringing that into Heroes of the Storm. We all had a lot of similar through lines with the weapons that were used, shooting skill shots that explode on Kristen's end, and on my end actually circling, but it's pretty through line, Ray, about what we feel Cordana should be in Heroes of the Storm, don't you think?
I would totally agree with that.
Yeah, I think that, Kristen, it was a lot like when we built with, when we had Kyle on the show, and we all had really, really similar ideas because there are some of these characters in these universes that would just port so well to Heroes of the Storm.
They would. And I think the reason they would port so well is not just because they're cool or because they have a great backstory or we're emotionally invested in them in any way, but because the way Blizzard wrote them, they're so easy to envision in a similar way that they really can be built in only one way. All of us building her as an assassin, that speaks leagues above some of the other heroes that get 3 different treatments because we don't really know where they would fit.
Absolutely. And I think this would be one of those that they could go. Some heroes we build on the show or at the end we think this is the way that the hero should be built. And this is one of those where we think there are so many really cool ways that this hero could be brought into the Nexus. And that's exciting to me because I know that there are thousands of other ones out there that are the same way, or maybe they're preset, and that's exciting too. It's all really exciting. Let's talk about specialty skins because we don't want to miss that. Ray, what were you thinking would be an awesome specialty skin for Cordana?
So I tried to go along with the silly out there skin for Cordana and pulling from a real life Warden. I'm going with Queen's Guard Cordana.
Ooh.
So she'd be in the full red getup, and I just think her character model would look pretty funny in a bearskin cap.
Would she not be able to smile? Would she have to have a stoic expression the entire time?
Yes, I would want to say. But I don't know if that's because of the skin or because of the fell.
Ooh. Although a little hint of a smile can be a little fell too, in my opinion.
A little half smile that hints it's something evil. A little evil twinkle in the eye.
That's a really cool idea. Kristen, what were you thinking for specialty skin?
I'm going with an 80s businesswoman. She's got the shoulder pads. She's got the huge hair. She's got the ankle warmers. She's got the look.
Oh, I am so glad I remembered to do specialty skins so that I could hear that she's got the look. Now, let's talk about these shoulder pads because it's something that draws me to her model, and the Warden's models in the games are these massive shoulder pads, right? So is that where your inspiration came for this 80s look?
That's exactly where it came from. That, and she's got a ponytail on the top of her head. That is so late 80s, early 90s. I used to wear ponytails on the top of my head as a little girl.
Done. I mean, that skin needs to be there. Very good. Mine's not nearly as original. I'm calling it Captain Phasma. So I see Cordana in this armor. She might be a little more feminine than Captain Phasma, but still, I just see that armor, and I think it would be a cool way to, have Captain Phasma in the game. Although with the build, I'm not really sure what the Fellblade would be like circling Captain Phasma. I mean, you could have.
I know exactly what it could be. The one stormtrooper that yells traitor and then does the spinny stick. Maybe Captain Phasma has a spinny stick and just sends out that stormtrooper to encircle.
Gosh, traitor! Whoosh! And then she throws that thing out, and it just goes around and around and around. Done.
Exactly.
Perfect. I'm glad we did not miss the specialty skins. That was fun. 80s. I love it. 80s shoulder pads. All right, it's the point of the show here where we're going to send it off. But what we want to do is we kind of want to let Ray take a second and tell us, where can people find you and your show in the interwebs?
Sure. For our podcast, Heroes Radio, we post first on a SoundCloud, usually Thursday or Friday evenings. You could find that soundcloud.com/heroesradio. We're also on iTunes and Stitcher as well. And then Wednesday nights, we do a Silver Squad stream, which is our noob-friendly teaching educational stream we just started, where we also give advice, but take advice in our Silver League struggles. And you can find that Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/DavidTwiceTV.
Very cool. I didn't know about your silver stream. I really have to check that out. It sounds like a ton of fun. So do you guys play, how many games do you play normally?
We usually do about 3 games in ranked duo queue, Dave and I, and we like to discuss our picks, our draft strategies, how to be friendly in chat and cooperate with your teammate is often a topic. And sometimes, depending on the viewers, we'll do some after stream games where we'll play with viewers and such.
Oh, that sounds really cool. And again, we really want to thank you, Ray, for taking the time to be on the show. I know everyone that produces any sort of podcast is super busy, so thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it, and thank you for picking such an awesome hero to forge for the Nexus. I mean, Kristen, you can't go wrong with Cordana.
Actually, I think she's horrifying the way we've all built her. I mean, she would take over the Nexus and leave it in, she would razz it to the ground. There would be nothing left but rubble and fellfire in her wake.
Perfect. I love it. Okay, great. So, Kristen, where can people find you in the interwebs?
People can find me at Dream Destroyer, that's DRMDESTRYR, over at Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, and also my health and fitness blog, battletobebetter.weebly.com.
Getting closer to some of these conventions coming up. I know TwitchCon is coming up, CreateCon just is coming up, and I know one of your original missions for Battle to Be Better was to battle to be better so that when we meet these people that we spend so much time with that don't know us, that we feel good about ourselves, right?
Exactly, because when you feel good, you act good, but you act happier, which resonates with people and spreads joy and love through the community. And I feel sometimes that we forget how important happiness is.
Absolutely. Not related to spreading Tracer love in Heroes of the Storm, which is what I said earlier.
Oh yes, the Tracer love. I love it. So she's got love bullets. And if you've ever seen the producers, they could be bullets of love.
Oh my
bullets
God.
of, that could be her theme song, Bullets of Love.
And then she could have an 80s skin too.
She would rock an 80s skin. She would be one of those people that in years from now, it wouldn't look corny. It would look absolutely fashionable.
Done. I love it. I think Tracer, her hair, everything would be perfect for an 80s skin. All right, let's give the contact information for Heroes Forge. So if you would like to check out all of the episodes that we've done, we do have a website. It's heroesforge.club. Over there, there's a Forged Hero tab, and you can check out all of the 30 episodes that we've done before this. I cannot believe, and I say this every week, that we have forged that many characters. Check them out and let us know what you think. And you can let us know what you think in a whole bunch of different ways. You can send us an email at contactheroesforge@gmail.com. You can send us an idea for some hero that you'd like to see on the show. This week we got a couple of submissions, and it's really awesome that people take the time to do this and send it to us, and it makes it feel like a community-driven show that much more. So if you have an idea, send it on over to us at contactheroesforge@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us on Twitter. We're at Forge Heroes. We also have a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/HeroesForge. You can download the show on iTunes, the audio version, but we also stream it live on twitch.tv/Amove TV every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific. If you'd like to catch the video version and jump in this awesome chat room that's just chatting back and forth during the whole show and gets to talk with us afterwards. If you'd like to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/HeroesForge. Again, a huge, massive thank you to all of our patrons out there. You guys are awesome getting in the show, getting into the show support at the ground level. We really can't do it without you, so thank you so much. Heroes Forge is a part of the Amove TV podcast network. For more awesome video game and esports podcasts, head on over to amove.tv. They just had a Create convention in Orlando. They did all of these live shows, and I mean, hopefully someday we get to be part of that, because it just looked so professional. It looked so cool, and really, I'm sure all the VODs and everything will be posted all over the place, so just keep an eye on the site. And I mean, Kristen, Kyle did an amazing job. It was just a really cool experience.
They all did fantastic. Great stage presence. And the one thing I heard was that they had a fantastic time getting to meet everyone. So many people showed up to say hello.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, we are going to be at some of these conventions that are coming up. I am going to TwitchCon at the end of September, I believe. And then we will be at BlizzCon. Ray, are you heading to BlizzCon this year?
I do not have a ticket. That is definitely on our agenda for Heroes Radio. We would love to try to get out there. I think it would be a lot of fun as a first-time experience. I'm definitely dying to get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It is worth it. It is worth every penny spent. I can tell you that from experience. So if you'd like to meet us, we'll have more. We want to meet all of you. There's going to be an Amove TV meetup. We want you guys to all come out there, and we want to say hi to everyone. So more information on that to come soon. Ray, thank you again for joining the show this evening.
Thank you, guys. It was really an honor to join you on the show, and I had a blast creating our very horrifying versions of Cordana.
I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. It's going to be awesome. All right. With that being said, we're going to call the show there. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you in the real world.